back to another Insider. And let's start this month of August with more insiders, more interesting topics, and way more information. And today we are talking about another topic that usually gets a little bit of a taboo kind of rap, which is how to charge for translation services is something that obviously I discuss a lot with my mentees, and actually something that I see that the perception might be changing, and even mentees when they start, they already have um, different ideas about this. So let's talk about pricing, how you should price yourself, and what, in my view, should be happening. So let's talk pricing. Let's talk about pricing yourself and prices of services in general, because I think this is something that happens not just to translation, but in a lot of industries, in a lot of services. And if you are a client, for example, finding a translator who publishes their price list is rare. Uh, in other industries, it's a bit like that as well. Most translators redirect their clients to a contact form. That's when they know how much it will cost them. So um, if they have a website, which is another thing that not all translators do have, they will redirect you to a contact form, and that's when the client will know um, how much it will cost, and that is if they obviously then provide the documents for quoting and all that. So that's usually what happens. Some see this as a lack of transparency, and they would like to see more pricing information. And I must admit that not just among clients I see this, but even among new translators, among translators that are now coming, mentees of mine that also have this view that um, they like to have a website and a published price list. So I think this is something that might be changing. Even in other industries, as I was saying, we get a little suspicious when a business is secretive about their pricing and not disclosing price lists and things like that. It is not illegal, of course, and they might not be doing anything wrong. In fact, I don't think they are doing anything wrong. They're just using a different method. Um, but for clients, it's almost as they are charging them based on the perception they have of their financial status. It might not be the case. It might not be the case. But unfortunately, I think that's sometimes the perception, because why would you hide something like that? You know, and given that unfortunately we live in a world where a lot of um, bad practices are out there, and all these bad things and negative um, perception of businesses in general um, is actually running rampant. Obviously, something like that aggravates that perception, and that, in my view, uh, it's wrong. First of all, it's wrong having that perception, but if people have that perception, it is because somehow it has happened, and that obviously is wrong. So we need to balance things out. There are different methods used by translators to charge for their services. There is no right or wrong. I already said this many times. There is no right or wrong, and there isn't a guideline on what to do and how to do it either. So it's we kind of like in a vacuum, so to speak. So everyone does what they think is best for them and for their business. So basically, you do whatever you think it's right. That's putting it simply. Some charge per project, which is fine. They analyze the project, the complexity, the number of words, the duration, and they charge a final figure for that project. So that's how some translators charge. Others charge per word or per page, sometimes both, depending on the project. And you can charge per hour, although I think this is less common for translation projects. I think, uh, in my view, I think when a colleague charges per project, it might be the per hour value that comes to mind, but I am not really sure because obviously I don't do it. So I'm not really sure what my colleagues might be using or what methods they use to um, get to that figure, to that project figure. So it's fine. So all of these methods are valid and all of these methods obviously are accepted. Now, my opinion. As I've mentioned, and if you go to my website, you can see it, I use a combination of methods because each type of project is different. For example, for certified translation, I charge per page. And the reason is because I include printing and certification in my pricing. Portuguese authorities want originals with the signature of the translator, which is the one that they can certify, and that is the last step for certification of documents in Portugal. So they need printing. This is how things work for Portugal. And if you are entering in the profession and you intend to do certified translation of documentation that goes to all sorts of government applications, please, you should first know the rules of the country where those translations are going to end, so you know exactly what you might need to do, and then obviously see in terms of pricing what you need to include. So I think this is also something that you need to take in consideration as well. For other translation projects, I charge per word, just like any other translator, and works fine. I think my secret is that I publish my price list. So when my clients contact me, they already have an idea of how much the project will cost them, and they are fine with it. They might not know if I'm available, if the subject is within my scope, but in regards to pricing, they can do the maths and calculate it before they even contact me. And I'm very happy about this, I must admit. Of course, there will be a lot of clients that see my name in the NATI directory, for example, or get referred uh, from the consulate page or something like that, and they obviously don't go to my page and check the pricing. There's a lot of clients obviously that don't know and still say, look, what's your pricing, etc., etc., and obviously that's perfectly fine. But a lot of clients do go to my page and they already have that assurance, okay, this is what this is costing me. And then they will get that reassurance when I send the quote, and it's exactly what they have calculated. Because if they count, let's imagine if it's for certified translation, if they counted how many pages do they have to be translated, plus the postage, because as I explained, I have to post, then it's, you know, done. The maths is done. So it is important that you really have that. So and in my view, this not only shows confidence in the quality of my work, but also transparency. Over the years, I have seen clients coming back and mentioning that they like that They can consult my prices before contacting me. A lot of clients have mentioned this. At the end of the day, it all goes to a fact that having a website, if you have a website, that's not only an effective advertising for your business, of course it is, but it's also a great reference and point of contact for your clients, because they can go there, they can see everything about you, your services, your pricing, um, everything, and then make that decision. Am I going to contact this person? Do I think this person is the right person for me? And if you actually give the client that power of choice, it empowers them, and they may come back because of that, because they say, okay, this person gives me all the information I need. I think they are the right match for me on this project. I'm going to contact. Or maybe they have a project that they think it's not in your scope, so they don't contact, but that's fine. It's perfectly fine. If you have all the information that should be there, the relevant information about services, about pricing, about everything that you do, then I think that will be perfectly fine. So I think if you have all of these things, you might have all you need to succeed. I think it's important to know that. I believe that having a price list is a sign of transparency. And I'm not implying that those who don't have a price list are dishonest. I'm not saying that, but people like to know the details beforehand. And in this day and age, where unfortunately malpractice is everywhere, um, if we kind of offer their assurance to our clients, I think it's a must. I think it's a must, because they see it. They see it. Well, the pricing is here. That's fine. Um, they may be happy with your pricing. They may not be happy with your pricing. But again, think again. If they're not going to be happy with your pricing, they won't be if they contact you and then you send them a quote. It will be the same thing. So, again, you're not going to lose clients because you disclose your price list. In fact, I think it is the other way around. I like to check a website, for example. That's my personal opinion. I like to check a website and learn a bit about the business before contacting them. I don't like when business only gives me a Gmail account. And I've got mentees saying this when they come to me and we start our mentoring program, that I have mentees telling me this, and I have clients telling me this. Because if you just give them first, if you just give them a Gmail account, I already said many times, and I'm very vocal against it, because I think it's not very professional that you just have a Gmail account. Quite frankly, I have already said it many times. Uh, and then, uh, if you want to contact someone, you want to know a little bit about that person. You want to know what they do. You want to know what type of service they provide, um, everything. And if you only have a Gmail account, I think it's a little bit um, too little, I would say. So, uh, you know, it's it's a little. This is my personal opinion, and I can see that a lot of other people think the same thing. And this goes for translation and many other services you get, and especially in industries with that freelance perception that we've been talking about. They all tend to do this, and I don't think it's the right approach to things, because he always goes a little I don't know, it looks a bit shady, if you ask me. Having a website with all information about your services, including pricing, show that you are transparent and you are confident about what you do. Some may claim that publishing prices allows the competition to know what they're doing. So what? I would say. So what? If you are confident about yourself and the services you provide, you don't need to care about what your supposed competition is doing. Maybe what sets you apart from them is that transparency factor. I certainly think that way. I think if you do your own thing, if you are certain that you are doing the right thing, that you are pricing yourself accordingly, fairly, and that you are providing your clients with the best service, I think you can't go wrong. And this, quite frankly, this always this competition discourse, it's getting a little tired, I would say, because quite frankly, we are not enemies, we are colleagues, and I don't think anyone in the industry is really caring about that. So I think thinking about this is a good thing. Having your prices um, published, for me, I believe that is a good thing because it really provides all the information, provides transparency to your clients, and they see that and they feel confident about contacting you. That's why I decided to talk about this today. So for today, I hope you liked this insider today, and I hope it really um, opens up minds about this pricing debacle that's been around forever. And and quite frankly, it does not suit anyone. It does not. I don't think it helps, especially with clients. I don't think it does help because people today want a little bit of a reassurance. They want um, transparency. I think is important, and I don't see it happening. It's and as I said, and I repeat, I don't see that my colleagues that price per project um, or anything like that, I don't think is dishonest or bad practice or anything like that. What I'm about is, and what I defend is that if we don't have um, a reference as per how we charge, how we quote our projects, etc., there's always that room for ambiguity and always that room for questions. Um, why am I paying this price? Why is this the price that I got quoted? I think people really appreciate when they are provided with a little bit more information about it. And of course, this is my opinion. It has been my opinion since I started, as I said. Um, since I started working, I've always had my price list published. Always, always. Um, so it's been my practice. Um, it's my opinion. Of course, other colleagues may have a different opinion, and people from other industries, obviously, that do the same thing, they might have different opinions. The reason I brought this today is also because I'm now a mentor, I've got my mentees, and I see that in a lot of my mentees, they also have a position like mine. They also think that having a price list will help them and will, because they themselves, as clients, because at the end of the day, we are going to be someone else's clients at some point. So um, it's easy for us to put ourselves in their shoes because we are also clients of someone else. In this particular case, we are the service provider. That's fine. But we are clients of so many companies, of so many businesses. And we might even be clients of some of our colleagues. I know, for example, when I was taking care of all my immigration clearances and documentation for the Australian government, even to for the citizenship or otherwise, or if I want any document in Australia, since I was born overseas, there will always be some documents that need translation. So I need to contact a colleague of mine to do my translations, because obviously I'm not going to do my own translations, and also because I don't certify into English. But we are clients as well. And as a client, I really care if the business has a price list. If I have a price, for example, if I go into a shop and I've seen some shops that don't have the pricing of the products, I simply get out. And this is something that I've done many times. And I used to live in an area of Sydney. I used to live in Warlike Creek, and there was one grocer there, a small business, that they never had the pricing. And once I went there, running for a product that I had run out, and honestly, back in the day, now the suburb became almost like a city. They have supermarkets, they have everything there. So if it happened today, I would even have my favorite supermarket there. So I would just walk into the supermarket and buy it. But back then, that didn't happen. So I had to go to that place, and they didn't have the pricing. So I went to the other side of the suburb to buy, where I knew that they had the pricing. I just went there because it was closer to my apartment. I used to live in an apartment. And when I realized they didn't have the price, I just walk out. Because for me, it's lack of transparency. If I don't know what I'm paying for, how can I make a decision if it's the right thing to me? So and I apply the same type of rule, and I apply the same type of vision to my own business. So that's why since the start I always published my price list. And now as a mentor, I bring up this topic with my mentees, and I can see that a lot of them already have that idea as well. So it's not that I'm bringing anything new. They actually already had that in mind. So, but let me know in the comments below, what do you think? What do you think as a customer, as a client, and as a business person? What are your ideas? Do you like to see a price list when you contact someone? Um, or do you simply trust that they're going to quote a fair and best price? Let me know. And if you have any questions, or if you have any topics you would like me to discuss in this Insiders, please put a comment below. And put a like on the video and subscribe to the channel with a little click on the bell, so you get a notification of a new Insider every week. Before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye.